Hello and welcome to Byju's Exam Prep IAS. Let's get started and look into our daily quiz. Before we start with the practice questions for the day, we have an announcement. Byju's Exam Prep IAS, as part of its Target Prelims 2023, will have a session today at 8 p.m. live on our YouTube channel. What is the session all about? This will be about how to prepare for geography in under 90 days. All the questions that you have, doubts that you have with respect to geography can also be posted on the chat box and all your queries will be answered as part of this session. So join us live on YouTube today at 8 p.m. so that you understand everything about geography for the prelims 2023. Let's get started and look into the first question. Which of the following statements are correct? National Anti-Doping Agency was set up as a registered society under the Societies Registration Act of 1860. India is a signatory to Copenhagen Declaration on Anti-Doping and UNESCO International Convention Against Doping. Which of the statements are correct? The answer to this is both. Why have we taken this practice question? Because of the reference in the PIB article. Let us try and understand what are these statements. First, we have to understand the meaning of doping. What is doping? Doping means that an athlete will consume something illegal or substances which are barred by the authority. So these are nothing but the performance enhancing drugs. So basically, the minute these drugs are consumed, they improve the performance of the athlete, which is actually barred by the law. So doping basically means athletes taking illegal substances to improve their performance by consuming the performance enhancing drugs. When we speak about performance enhancing drugs, there are various types of it. What are those? One, what we have is stimulants. For example, amphetamines is one such example of the performance enhancing drugs. Then we have anabolic steroids. Then we have diuretics. Then we have blood doping agents. These are some of the examples of doping. So what are the side effects of doping? When an athlete consumes these doping agents or performance enhanced drugs, it can also have side effects on the athletes. It can result in kidney damage, it can increase the aggression, this can also have baldness effects, this will also reduce the sperm count in men and also increase facial hair on the women as well. These are some of the side effects with respect to the doping. So in order to regulate the doping in India, what we have is the National Anti-Doping Agency. At the international level, what we have is the World Anti-Doping Agency. So the World Anti-Doping Agency has given a set of criterion. So to execute this at the national level, what we have is the National Anti-Doping Agency. So the first statement is right, that the National Anti-Doping Agency was set up as a registered society under the Societies Registration Act of 1860. So what is the primary objective? Is to implement the anti-doping rules as prescribed by the World Anti-Doping Agency's code. So all those rules and regulations, guidelines given by WADA or the World Anti-Doping Agency will be implemented by the National Anti-Doping Agency. So the first statement is right. When you look into the second statement, yes, India is a signatory to the Copenhagen Declaration on Anti-Doping and the UNESCO International Convention Against Doping. These are some of the important points that you have to remember from the preliminary examination point of view. Now let's look into the next practice question. Consider the following pairs. We have operations on one side, led by on the other side. Operation Barkhane, France. Operation Infinite Search, Germany. Operation Taurus, United Kingdom. Operation Urgent Fury, United States of America. How many pairs given above are correctly matched? The answer to this is only 3 pairs. Why have we taken this practice question? Because this article on the Indian Express makes a reference to Operation Barkhane. Let us try and understand what are these statements. When you look into the first statement, yes, Operation Barkhane was led by France. Operation Infinite Search was not by Germany but by United States of America. Then we have Operation Taurus, yes, it was led by United Kingdom, and Operation Urgent Fury, yes, it is by United States of America. So remember, Operation Infinite Reach is by United States of America and not Germany, which is why the answer to this would be only 3 pairs. As part of the assignment, you have to put on the comment section What is this Operation Infinite Search? What is this Operation Tourist? What is this Operation Urgent Fury? Please put it on the comment section. What is this Operation Barkhane? This was an operation initiated by France basically in the year 2013, and this was in the Sahel region where in North Africa. So this Operation Barkhane was led by France where in Sahel region in North Africa. The operation was basically limited at eliminating the extremist elements who were present in the Sahel region of Africa. So they wanted to take control over it. They wanted to eliminate all the extremists linked with Al Qaeda, and ultimately France started supporting the local forces of the respective countries so that they could eliminate the extremists present in the Sahel region. So if we look into which were the countries which are part of it, for example, we have Burkina Faso, Chad, Mali, Mauritania, Niger. These are some of the countries which were part of it, and they were referred to as G5 Sahel. So France as a country, since it had previously occupied as a colonial power, had power in all these countries. They wanted to eliminate extremist organizations. So they helped the local forces, and ultimately they wanted to throw out the extremist organizations that were linked to Al Qaeda. So in 2014, what we had was operation called as Operation Serval. This Operation Serval was scaled up and it was renamed as Operation Barkhane. So the upgraded operations objective was to assist local armed forces in preventing resurgence of non-state armed groups across the Sahel region. So it had two objectives. One was to liberate Mali from the insurgents and at the same time also neutralize terrorists by engaging in counter-terrorism operations. Did France succeed in this operation? There was mixed record. One, it did achieve certain military objectives, but there were large number of failures as well when it comes to Operation Barkhane. Now let's look into the next practice question. Which of the following is are correctly matched? We have Battle of Chausa, Humayun and Sher Suri, Battle of Haldighati, Maharana Pratap and the forces of Akbar, Battle of Karnal, Nadir Shah and Muhammad Shah. Which of the following is are correctly matched? The answer to this is 1, 2 and 3. Why have we taken this practice question? Because this article on the Indian Express makes a reference to Humayun, which is why we have taken this practice question, where the Battle of Chausa was fought between Humayun and Sher Suri. So all of these are correctly matched. That is, the Battle of Chausa is between Humayun and Sher Suri. Battle of Haldighat is between Maharana Pratap and the forces of Akbar, and Battle of Karnal is between Nadir Shah and Muhammad Shah. Now let's look at some of the important facts with respect to Humayun. Humayun was the eldest son of Baba. Humayun means fortune, but he remained the most unfortunate ruler of the Mughal Empire. 6 months after his succession, Humayun besieged the fortress of Kalinja in Bundelkhand, gained a decisive victory over Afghans at Dowra and drove out Sultan Muhammad Lodi from Jaunpur and even defeated Bahadur Shah of Gujarat. His victories, however, were short-lived due to the weakness of his character. Humayun had three brothers, Kamran, Askari and Hindal. Humayun divided the entire empire among his brothers, but this proved to be a greater blunder on this part. So because there was division of power and they were not able to consolidate the power, this became a major impediment in the operation of his empire. Kamran was given Kabul and Kanda, Sambal and Alwa were given Askari and Hindal respectively. Humayun captured Gujarat from Bahadur Shah and appointed Askari as its governor. But soon, Bahadur Shah recovered Gujarat from Askari who fled from there. Humayun reached Agra to negotiate with his brothers in 1540 in the Battle of Bilgram or Ganges, also known as Battle of Kannauj. Humayun was forced to fight with Sher Shah alone, and after losing his kingdom, Humayun became an exile for about next 15 years. These are some of the important factual data with respect to Humayun. Now let's look into the next practice question. Spring Revolution, often seen in news, is a political movement that aims just regime change in Myanmar, pro-democracy protests and uprisings in Ecuador, a political movement that emerged during the Hong Kong democracy protests, a popular uprising in Tunisia that protested against corruption, poverty, and political representation. Spring Revolution, what is it? The answer to this is a political movement that aims just regime change in Myanmar. This happens to be taken because of the reference in the Indian Express article. So, what is the Spring Revolution? Back in the year 2021, what we had is a military coup in Myanmar. What we had was a elected government run by the democratic process. This was replaced by a military coup in Myanmar. So, this military coup and people fighting against it is what is called as the Spring Revolution. So, what is Spring Revolution? It began in 2021 because the people who were part of the democratic movement, people who wanted democracy in Myanmar, were not happy with the military junta, so they wanted replacement of military rule by the democratic movement and the elected government, which is why they initiate a revolution called as the Spring Revolution. So the protesters mainly employed some of the peaceful and non-violent forms like civil disobedience, labor strikes, military boycott campaign, pot banking movement, red ribbon campaign, public protest, formal recognition of election results by the elected representatives, so on and so forth. But this was not taken easily by the military forces, so as a result, they started imposing their hegemony. So what did they do? Because there were protests all across Myanmar, they started taking countermeasures as well. This included internet and social media blackouts, a media blackout, pursuit of arrest, criminal sentences against those protesting against the military junta. So the Spring Revolution is nothing but people in Myanmar wanting democracy to be restored and military to be off the governance in Myanmar. Now let's look into the next practice question. Consider the following statements about probiotic food. Probiotic food contains live bacteria which are considered beneficial to humans. Probiotic food helps in maintaining gut flora. Which of the statements given above are correct? The answer to this is both 1 and 2. So what are probiotics? They are the living organisms that are considered healthy for the host organism. For example, lactic acid bacteria, bifidobacteria are common types of microbes used as probiotics. Certain yeast and bacilli may also be useful as well. So probiotics are commonly consumed as part of the fermented food with specially added active live cultures such as yogurt or dietary supplements. So this happens to be a previous year question from the year 2008. Now let's look into the fact of the day. The fact of the day for today's discussion is Hubble Space Telescope. This is operated by NASA, European Space Agency and Space Telescope Science Institute. The mission type is to do with astronomy. The duration of the mission is 30 years past and still continuing, and the launch date was April 24, 1990. Rocket that was used for launch is Space Shuttle Discovery, and the diameter of the telescope is about 2.4 meter. Now if you look into the other factual data, the Hubble Space Telescope is named after astronomer Edwin Hubble, whose contribution in the field of astronomy and cosmology are remarkable. So what is the space telescope? This was launched into the low Earth orbit back in the year 1990, and this is an operation telescope and has been successful in capturing humanity's imagination and enhanced knowledge of astronomy. And as we discussed, it is named after astronomer Edwin Hubble. The observatory is the first major optical telescope to be placed in the space, and it is a large space telescope launched in 1990. Hubble features a 2.4 mirror. Its four main constituents include ultraviolet, visible and near infrared regions of the electromagnetic spectrum. The telescope has been built by NASA along with contributions from the European Space Agency. It is one of the largest space telescope which can perform versatile missions. What is the significance? It helps in purpose of cosmic revelations, can show evolution of the galaxies so that we understand how the origination of the Earth and the solar system happen. To discover the undiscovered planets and stars, Space Telescope will also help in studying the science of tomorrow as well. What are the instruments which have been installed in Hubble? It includes a camera, spectrographs, interferometer, and current instruments include advanced camera for surveys, cosmic origin spectrograph, space telescope imaging spectrograph, wide field camera 3, fine guidance sensor, near infrared camera, and multi-object spectrometer. These are some of the important instruments that are present in the Hubble telescope. It is this that we have to understand with respect to this topic. So this is it for today. Thank you for watching. All the best.